How's it, everybody? Another episode from DJ Slaydem. Just some simple tips, mate. Simple rules you make for yourself. Simple things in the matrix, simple things in society. You're allowed to get angry. You're allowed to scream. If the situation is getting out of control, or you want to do something horrible, or maybe you got no opportunity, so you make your own opportunity. You get a job for yourself. Don't worry about somebody else's social welfare or benefit, or somebody else's thing. You've got to not worry about other people. You've got to worry about yourself. You've got to focus all your energy on yourself. You've got to make rules for yourself, rules that everyone must follow. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to be out of control. It's the weekend. If somebody's good looking and they've got nice teeth, you can't damage that. It's somebody else's property. It could be Jay-Z's business. It could be a biker gang's business. You live in a mad place. So what's the point of worrying about the cemetery? The cemetery is inevitable. You worry about this world, or you worry about things that make sense. If you want to understand women, then you need a woman to talk for women. If you want to understand white people, then you need to spend time with white people. If you want somebody to help you, then you must help the person. If you don't want to live in a place like Lion King or the Skrilla, then you're allowed to pack up and move. Move somewhere nice. If you don't want to live in a ghetto or a hood, a Skrilla, or somewhere where problems are going to happen, social problems, or maybe you're going to confront a gang or something, then you don't call the police. You'll pack up and move. Maybe they could be stopping people from Australia. So maybe the person feels like um, you're a problem, but you're allowed to be angry as long as you don't do something horrible, not to a leader of a gang or a leader of something. It might be fantasy, but what's not important to you could be important to 600 million people. So the person who's telling you this nonsense is the person you should ask for money. You can't make money from somebody else's opportunity. You can't steal ideas from another business. TikTok can't come to YouTube or something, hacking into someone's account, or trying to live with your parents is like living at your granny's house. You got to be independent. You got to use energy of yourself. You can't stop somebody else's relationship or try to be in a different therapy group. You got different groups now. It's no more the ancient world. The ancient world, you could do that sort of thing. You could hurt somebody. It's the modern world. You can't judge somebody by some messages. If you don't have any opportunity, you make your own opportunity. If it's prison, then you do what you can do in prison. You work with what you have. You're allowed to be angry. You're a man. You're a boy. You got no girlfriend. You live in with boys around. You can't tell a grown man to give up his dreams. You need to have a computer for yourself, a laptop, some speakers. I'm not telling you what to do. You follow the leader, like everybody else. Of course, you're allowed to copy someone, but if you're going to copy someone, then you copy correctly. If you're talking philosophy on TikTok, saying your boss don't care about you, your job is just going to lead you nowhere. You know what I mean? You need to get your own space. It's like a mosque, a temple. Women are separate, men are separate. If you get angry, you're intimidating somebody, it works. If you don't help society, society don't help you. If you don't worry about somebody else, you worry about yourself. You get yourself, you spend money on yourself. Those are tips, rules for all sorts of people. You don't judge somebody, not the leader of a gang or something. You get yourself simple things that will clear your mind. Don't worry about the past. The past is important. The past makes you who you are. The good times count. Being reliable and responsible and reasonable, realistic. It's not a lot of stuff. It's just rules. You do as much as you can, and you think about the future. Don't try to be a troublemaker. I know it's fantastic. You feel like you're a superhero. You know what I mean? Like you Spider-Man or something. Like you different or something. You know what I mean? You've got to get your own space. Even if you live with your parents, you don't complain about music on the weekend, or then people won't complain about you. You don't spend your life going after somebody that's powerful. If you don't want to live in Lion King, then you're allowed to move somewhere else. There's plenty opportunities you can do. There's no point trying to live somewhere you're not happy. There's no point trying to live somewhere where when lockdown is starting. If you know something's going to happen, then you refuse. If it's bad, you refuse. If it's horrible, you refuse. You're allowed to defend yourself. You're allowed to defend your girlfriend. You're allowed to defend your parents. You're allowed to defend yourself. You don't let somebody exploit you. If somebody is making money out of you, that's not allowed. If you're living in a fake reality, a place that's drug street, cocaine street, methamphetamine street, you know what I mean, then why should you be normal? Why do you need to be a normal person? You're living on a drug street. So how can you involve the police or try to involve a puny biker gang? If you want to make nice music or you want to make rock music, then you got to work with talented people. You got to find space for yourself. It doesn't matter where your space is. If you want to make nice white music or nice rock music, you got to dedicate yourself. If you want to make nice rap music, then don't be talking a lot of nonsense about women or drugs. If you want to make nice music, you got to dedicate yourself. It's like a job. You got to do overtime. You got to spend time on yourself. If you want to empower yourself, you got to spend time on yourself, no matter what somebody says about you. If you want to walk on the street and be the champion, or if you want to stand up, you stand up for people. You stand up for your girlfriend. You stand up for her parents. You defend your girlfriend. You defend your parents. You defend your neighbors. You defend your neighborhood. If you want to be the leader, then you've got to stand up. If you want to be a dangerous person, anybody can be dangerous. If you want to be loud and making noise, anyone can do that. But if you want to be quiet, like a stealth bomber, live in the shadow, then you've got to be in the shadow. From the shadow, you can do anything. But if a situation gets out of control, then of course you're allowed to blow up something, be dangerous. It mustn't get out of control. You mustn't be doing something horrible to anybody, because those consequences can result on the people that are innocent, people that are stuck in a Skrilla, or people that are stuck in Lion King, or people that are stuck in a situation where you connected with the slums of India, which are too difficult to work with. Slums of Jamaica, slums of Nigeria, the slums of Africa, something that doesn't exist, something like Trinidad is on the other side of the world. You know what I mean? Something realistic, mate. Something like an exchange for the community. Some sort of negotiation rules in a gang fight, that you're not going to attack people when they're sleeping or go after somebody's girlfriend. It's not how it works in any confrontation. And if you want to be the leader, and then you've got to be available. You've got to be a positive influence. You can't be talking philosophy like your boss don't care about you. Then nobody will go to work. You can't be trying to threaten somebody who's dangerous, or someone with a mental problem, or trying to insult someone. Anyone can diss someone, but you can't just talk about something that doesn't exist, or blame someone that only God can do. If you can't talk to myself, then you've lost the battle, because you're talking to everybody else but not talking to the important person, the person who's control of the ship. So if you're supposed to be a gangster and you're trying to fight against a biker gang, so you've got to live by those boundaries. If you're attacking someone when they're sleeping, or you're doing something that's horrible, then obviously it will be a horrible gang war. If it gets horrible, how can you retreat? So how can we allow you to retreat if you're doing something horrible to my family and friends, or something for no reason, or blaming somebody for something they haven't done? Anyone can blame someone, but can you stand up and talk? You can't fight with somebody who's got $70 billion. He could hoax you, dupe you, fake you. You've got to be available. It's the weekend. It works. It works. It makes everybody understand reality. You got to be realistic. You take everything serious. If you want to listen to nice white music, then you've got to do overtime. You've got to dedicate yourself with nice music. You can't make some sort of music without talented artists. If you want to make nice rap music, well, it's got to be good music. And the thing is, you're allowed to be angry. Sleep is important. If you don't want drugs, if you want to stop drugs, it's always worth the opposite. By eating food, looking after yourself, those sort of things are all over the universe. You got to be realistic. If you stop in a business that's for the community, or could be for even 600 million colored people, and you're trying to be undisciplined, and you're trying to do something horrible, not to someone important or somebody good looking like myself. You can choose anyone off the street. If you want to make an example, you don't make an example of somebody important or somebody that's got a business for the whole community. If you don't want to live somewhere where you feel uncomfortable, then you're allowed to pack up and move. It's the modern world. You don't compare anything to Jesus. If you any support will help. Any support to make sure that somebody you care about doesn't get hurt, or people you've got a relationship mustn't be held hostage. And if it's a hostage, then you treat your hostage nice. You don't torture a hostage, because when it's your turn to be the hostage, that means nobody can help you. Simple things, mate. You do as much as you can. If you want to change your life, it's not about money. Money is the only way to be a business. So you think about your future. So if you've got a sign of wealth, it doesn't mean you're wealthy. It just means you've got powerful enemies. So if you've got powerful enemies, that means you need security. If you spend your life in a garage, then you can't do something. But from a garage, you can work. It's all about the work you're doing. YouTube knows the story. So if you let's say you want to change your life, so that means you've got to be available. So if you want children, those children are your children anyway. Your girlfriend is your girlfriend anyway. You can't do something from somewhere that's got no equipment, or no, not something that doesn't exist, can't materialize from idea. But wherever there is an idea, there must be some sort of source, right? So if you've got an idea like Dune or something, or maybe the Matrix, right? So then if you need a microphone, then you've lost already, because you don't have the voice power. So let's say you've got a record deal with Def Jam or something. That it doesn't mean that you're not in the record business. It just means you're a different type of audience, which could be teenagers. You know what I mean? You've got millions of teenagers in India. You've got millions of teenagers in New Zealand. You're not a teenager. You're an adult. Any support for anyone is correct. Even if you're negative, it doesn't mean that you're going to be punished. You can't be corrupted. You know what I mean? Because corruption, you don't want corruption in the headhunters. We don't want corruption in biker gangs. We don't want corruption at the Henderson swimming pool. We don't want corruption in society. So to stem corruption, you've got to follow the law. If you break the law, anyone can break the law. But can you be a reasonable citizen? Can you stand up for society? Can you walk around the street like a man? Can you walk like a lion? You can insult someone's stomach, but if there's no stomach, can you be good looking? Can you maintain your life? Can you get a full license? Can you get a motorbike license? Can you open a business that has no corruption? I've got businesses, a cafe, businesses. But the thing is, if you're stuck on this level, then of course on this level you can't do something. But on this level you can do anything. There's always a millionaire in every neighborhood. So the boss is the millionaire, because he could have access to money. But without technology, then you can't search for something. On the internet, you can search for jobs. You can search for somewhere to live. If you want to hold someone hostage, then you can't bash someone's teeth, or try to do something for a homeless person, or somebody that's insignificant, or something that doesn't exist. Be realistic. Don't talk philosophy. Anyone can talk philosophy, but can you stand up for 40 minutes? Can you remember what to do? Can you be a dedicated member? Can you be some people have gang tattoos. You want to learn about Maori people, but you don't want to learn about Africans. You want to learn about Lion King, but you want to separate people. You can't separate people if you're trying to be successful. Success is governed by yourself. So money is because you like a big business. So with money comes powerful enemies. If you want to live in a gangster place, then you've got to be the leader. You can't throw yourself at Lion King. It's experiment. For 600 million people, they pay $10 for everything. If you want to live in society in the matrix, then you've got to have a party atmosphere. You got to enjoy yourself. Life is about enjoying yourself. You don't try to come up with an idea like a white man versus 600 million Africans. If you want to make nice white music, then you've got to involve talented black people. If you want to make the best music, if you want to be a business that you live with society, to have the freedom to swear your parents, the freedom to masturbate, talk shit, you don't want people to diss you, then you've got to be like someone who does overtime. Your brain has to be a computer. You do as much as you can, even if it doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to make sense in a business. In a business, they only do their job. They don't do anything extra. They do what they paid for. So if you're part of Illuminati, that means you're someone's property. I'm just the brains. I'm not the boss. There's different things, elements in society, things that are more sophisticated, more intricate details. Our closest relative is a dolphin, right? So if you're trying to stop somebody, like, you've got your benefit, but my benefit is for society, for social life, things, outings, like going to the mall or movies and stuff, gimmicks, adverts, things. Those are just recommendations or like a bonus. So it's because I've got a history with these people. We've been through a lot of stuff together. So if you want to, let's say, live in a nice house, so you get your mortgage and you go to a nice neighborhood. There's no problem with that. But if you live in a neighborhood with mad people, then you've got to be mad. If it's time to be in the reality of 2045, then you don't go after an important colored person for Southern Africa. Wherever somebody's put in sentiment, there must be direction. Wherever there's sugar, there must be a block. You know what I mean? If it smells rubbish, it's rubbish. If it's good looking, then obviously you'll sleep with a vampire. If you're doing something while you're sleeping and it's obvious, you can feel like somebody's hurt you, then obviously somebody's doing something while you're sleeping. You can't connect YouTube with TikTok, with Instagram, with Sky Television, with rock music and Nigeria of all places, or the slums of India. Can't be changed easily. Obviously, it's a hurdle, but life is a challenge. Life is an adventure. You stay with your group, no matter who's in your group. Even if it's the Chinese Prime Minister or Donald Trump, or maybe the owner of a Hollywood business, or even somebody who's a drug dealer in prison. From prison, you can do anything. It's a woman's prison. So how can women look at a good-looking man, a man that's an alpha predator? A predator walks around like a lion. The whole community is depending on this person. You got other gimmicks in society. You need to have your own laptop, so you can search the internet. You need a few perks, a few advantages. If you're a racist, you're allowed to discipline people. You're allowed to police yourself. You've got to police yourself. Don't try to police society. This society is a society that has malfunctioned. It has failed society because it has pitted society against itself, which is the greatest spider web. It's a spider web is like an episode of Sons of Anarchy. You've got an episode of Diablos. You've got an episode of Sopranos. So you need an episode of Wasp Nest. It's just a episode, like something that you think doesn't exist. Doesn't mean it's not hidden. If it's in your mind, it's somewhere in the world. It's somewhere in reality. If you put in poison at the liquor store, then you're affecting thousands of people. So how can it be one person? Can it be one person? It doesn't make sense. But yeah, you've got health benefits. You touch as much as you can in any episode. Those are tricks, gimmicks, secrets you learn by yourself. You're allowed to copy someone. You're allowed to emulate someone. You're allowed to give somebody any spiritual energy. Well, that's been a gang. A gang is about numbers, right? But if you're going to be the brains is a different job. Muscle is something else. The hands are something else. Eyes, something else. Ears. You can't blame someone for skinny white girls. That could be millions. When all you have to do is tell them to eat. You can't do something like go to a powerful entity, or something that could be an anomaly. Could be anything from a person in the government doesn't go after somebody that's in the Jamaican government, or somebody that wants to make money. Money is for community. You can't have $100,000 unless you're going to share. You can't have millions of dollars unless you're going to pay the benefit. As far as I'm concerned, the drug dealer must pay the benefit. The person who is attacking Lion King will now be milked, because Lion King is a fundamental for 600 million colored people. Everybody's chosen the colored world. If you can't stop a grown man from a men's club, you've got a woman's club, you've got a men's club. You can't stop a grown woman. A grown woman is like trying to stop a grown man. If you're undisciplined, then something horrible will happen. You've got to mentally have the energy. Then on the next level, in the next level is different. If you want to be good looking, or if you want to be good with computers, right? You can't be doing something on the back of the head. You got to have a computer for yourself. You know what I mean? You've got your episodes where you have an argument or something. You're living in a crazy world. So you're not a mental person. So you say, who are you talking to? You could be talking to a ghost. You could be talking to a demonic power. But if you're going to be entering the world of celebrities, or the world of violence, the world of biker gangs, they know the story. But you've just got to be realistic. Don't try to do something brand new without telling someone, without telling your friend, or looking for permission, trying to put someone in prison because you're worried that somebody is dead already. The past is important. It makes you who you are. Your style is your style. My style is my style. You can copy someone, but you can't try to make money out of someone without giving a slice in our territory. And you can't throw yourself at Lion King when it's looking so beautiful. You know what I mean? If it smells like shit, it must be shit. If somebody says you ugly, you ugly. But you can't stop women. Women will be with you whether you're asleep or awake. You're inundated. Anything could happen. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're not reasonable, then who must be reasonable? If you live in the jungle, then the jungle has advantages. If you live in a society where everyone pays $10 and there's 600 million colored people, you can't put the white man against 600 million people or threaten gangsters. Oh, you've got to remember what you are doing. If you're walking around with a memory problem, then it could be anything. It could be a devil worshipper. It could be some sort of a supernatural thing, which is the thing with white people. Too many white people are into themselves. Too many people are into white people. Too many people into. If you want to make nice white music, then you've got to mix it with professional stuff. If you want to make nice rap music, then you've got to make good lyrics, something positive. You can't do something negative. Negative attracts negative energy. With money comes powerful enemies. So if you're part of, let's say, America, then you're still part of America. If you're part of the third world, then it's not like something. If you want to speak for women, then you need a woman. You can't understand women without a woman. So you can't put the two groups together. So it's like a house. Upstairs is a separate entity. Downstairs is a separate entity. Next door is a separate world. So because you're loud and mad, in a loud and mad world, you're supposed to be loud and mad. It's the weekend, right? So what you've got to try to do is be professional, because life is serious. You do as much as you can. Whether you learn in English, or let's say you have an episode of Sons of Anarchy, and you've got a thing, like some sort of gimmick or something. So if you want to make nice music, so what you've got to try to do is find your own space, be available, you do as much as you can. Well, if somebody's good looking like this, so it must be for a reason. So if it's for a reason, you don't do something uh, unrealistic. That happens all over headhunters. It happens all over the biker gangs. It happens all over the world, all over New Zealand. There's people who do something. But can you live in a gangster territory without doing that? Can you live with yourself? Of course, you can't accept it. It's like biker gangs can't accept a lot of stuff. You want to make nice music, then you've got to put time and effort. Then you will make nice music. Well, music that's going to last. Something. Let's say you want to come back in business. So if you want to come back in the music business, then you've got to do something for everyone. You know what I mean? Not something for white people. If you want to make nice white music, let's say nice rock music, then it's got to be something magnificent. What you've got to mix it together. Some, not with rap or something like it's got to be so talented it's going to last. It can't be a short term thing that's with your mind. Your mind could be a separate world. Don't make estimations without calculations. If you want to be mathematically inclined or connected with neurology, then you've got to be connected spiritually. Any motivation is going to lead us in the right direction. The wrong direction is a spider web, which could be a trap of a secret society that could be powerful. You've got good members, you've got members that are the brain. The brains are important. The eyes are something else. It can't be eye for eye and blaming the leader. Anyone can be the leader, but can you be a follower? You can be a follower, you can do anything, but you've got to police yourself. That's the society we live in now. No matter where the police are, they're good police. No matter you got good members, you got bad members. It's not about trying to fight the government. You got to push yourself. Don't blame the government. Government is the only way to be a billionaire. The only opposition is the greatest opposition. But the greatest enemy is yourself. So why should you worry? So if you're worried about society or something that's important, you're allowed. You're allowed to worry about your friends. You're allowed to worry about your girlfriend. You're allowed to worry about your parents. You're allowed to worry about society. You're allowed to be afraid. And if you feel afraid, then you're allowed to do something like Rambo. If there's no stomach, then there's no stomach. It can't exist. If it was good for you, then let's say you want to be a talker. You want to be the brain. You want to do some motivational shit. You can't do motivational shit with no evidence. It has to be an adventure. Every day you do something different in Buckingham Palace, whether it's the White House or the Lion King. Don't throw yourself at something that could be important to Polynesian people. Yeah, it's just an ordinary place in New Zealand. But for hundreds and millions of colored people, they got a problem with the ideology of Lion King. If you want to be the leader, then you have to be a follower. But if you want to be relevant, or if you want to come back in business, then you've got to think of the future. Then what's the point of future? Of course, the past is important. It makes you who you are. Your DNA is the DNA of yourself, right? So if you take a few minutes and meditate, then it'll clear your mind. So if you want to make a comedy, or you want to be different, what's the point of being different if you're not different? Because you've got barriers, right? Barriers are put in place for a reason. So you've got barriers that you shouldn't break. It's like the ancient world. The ancient world is a con artist world. The ancient world had vampires and things. The very vampire could be writing your history. The very monster could be in control of society. You could be holding everybody hostage. You could be extorting people. But extortion is only for brains. So if you want to be the brains, that's a separate job. That's a job for the brains. It doesn't mean you're the leader. It doesn't mean it's not a feat of ingenuity. Even if it's like a simple job, a welder, or somebody that's let's say you work at Burger King. If you're a good looking person, then leave a good looking person alone. Make rules. But in this episode, we're touching episodes because you've got your episodes that we forced to watch. You're holding us hostage. Shit that in the first place, I would rather do this in the first place. So it means it's a plan, but a plan of a higher power. So let's say if you, in the first place, if you paid us, then you wouldn't have the problem. So that means the person probably has a ulterior plan. So it's got to be an adventure. You can't say that someone's a racist without assuming something or separate people when you're stuck together on a ship. So controlling a ship could be from anywhere that's available, or something that doesn't exist, can't come from nowhere. You know what I mean? It can't come from nowhere. If there's some sort of idea, it must exist somewhere. So obviously he says, how do you know? From technology, from the internet is your greatest weapon. You know what I mean? So it can't come from something, can't just create itself. But how many things create themselves? But that's another episode. Because you've got your episodes, you're trying to test the headhunters. Episodes, you're trying to test the leader of the Western world. Who wants to be a god? God of nonsense, God of bullshit, when you can be the leader of the shadow. Something that's not important for you, you need permission from somebody, a responsible person, before you trying to fight against 600 million colored people, or something reasonable. You're a family and a friend, you get exempt exceptions, but no exceptions for anybody else. If you throw yourself, let's say, at the shadow could be unlimited, limitless. You've got criminals, you've got all sorts of things, you've got prisoners, you've got a lot in society. There's not everyone's a nice person, but you're allowed to be a nice person because you've got to police yourself. It works because intimidation is 90%, 10% is life, 90% is the brain. 10% is enjoying yourself. You can live like a billionaire on the benefit. You can live like a trillionaire. The bus, Uber, and the train is for a trillionaire. Trying to do something like a celebrity, making episodes for the future when you're dead, leaving something for yourself is the greatest weapon of the universe. A wife and kids, or some sort of weakness. You know what I mean? You've got all sorts of things in society. It's more intricate. The closest relative of humans is the dolphin, or mammals like the elephant. Whatever you learn is got to be educational. If you want to be the brains, then you've got to be like the brains that you are. You can't make up ideas or try to come from a separate entity, which could be a separate business. If you break someone's back, could be the best joy of your life. If you're talking a whole lot of bullshit, how many people are talking bullshit and making billions of dollars? How many people are talking nonsense and making money? But how many people are talking sense? How many people are positive? How many people are out the spider web? How many people can pay their mortgage off? How many people can recover? Now, how many people can walk around like a lion? Especially in West Auckland, how many people can do these sort of things? Not many can have a power, a mental advantage. You know what I mean? How many people can do that sort of thing? Which is just another episode, right? Which is what I call that. It's an episode, an argument with your girlfriend or whatever. You have an episode, but you've got a recovery phase. And if you have a recovery phase, something can set you off. There could be 1,000 reasons, a billion reasons. You find me as much as you can, because life is an adventure. So you do something different every day. You don't try to fight with somebody who could be dangerous, right? Could be Rambo, could be Batman, could be any advantage in life you're supposed to take, not disadvantage. But yeah, this episode, because you got your episodes of Top Boy, you got your episodes of The Wire, you got your episodes of Sons of Anarchy. So surely the Empire must have episodes of The Shadow. The Shadow is limitless, right? So you want to be good looking, but you want to be dissing people. but you want to live in the matrix. The matrix has all our children. The matrix has our groceries, got electricity, is a powerful force. But that's another episode. An episode because that's what I call it. It's like having an episode in public, right? It works. Because intimidation is 90%. 10% is the battle. If you want to be Genghis Khan, or you want to be Julius Caesar, or you want to be a somebody. If you want to be a somebody, then you have to be available. Because what technology, right, is the matrix, right? So those are all separate things. In this episode, we spoke about as much as we could how to make nice white music, how to make nice rap music, how to do something positive, how to be intimidating and win the psychological war. The psychological battle is 90%. So if you win the psychological battle, 10% is the victory. Because life is only 10%, right? 90% is in the brain. So if you're a failure, you govern your failure by yourself. You govern your success and many other intricate details that is better to learn yourself. That is simple to watch an episode because if you want discipline, you discipline yourself. If you want to police, you police yourself. If you don't feel comfortable, then you're allowed to pack up and sell and go away. But you're not allowed to destroy something that could be important to 600 million people. They could be paying $10 each. And that's a mathematic a mistake. It's still a feat of ingenuity. From the garage to TikTok, or from the garage to Chirac, or even from here to somewhere to Hollywood. It's just a bonus, right? Everyone's got bonuses. But you don't throw yourself if there's no stomach or the person doesn't exist. It can't materialize. But if it's another world, then it could be something they simplified saying neuroscience, but only God can do that. You're not God. You can't be Spider-Man, Batman, and the Green Hornet. But anyway, that's another episode. And you find as many reasons to stay alive. If you're suicidal, that's all right. But you don't try to frame people. Try to do American stuff if you're not inclined to reality. So if you want to do something, let's say if it's 80% in your mind, then it's possible. Even if it's 45%, while you've proven to be quite a tricky person, trying to touch somebody while they're sleeping and you caught. Yeah, but with technology can be your best friend or your worst nightmare. But without technology, then it's not the matrix. You know what I mean? Without technology, then it's not possible. Because technology, you can do anything. You can't be living in 2045 without some technology. You can't live in the modern world. You're allowed to be angry, you're allowed to be a racist, but it's the discipline of the army that's going to govern the winner. It's the discipline. You can have an army of rabbits. They can beat an army of soldiers if they're disciplined. With that psychological edge, you can do anything. It works. You can have 90% of the battle is in the mind. From the mind is like a computer. Well, that's another episode. Well, you shouldn't be trying to fight against this part of the world. It's not a bad part of the world, but you're not allowed to threaten gangsters. You're not allowed to do something from the ancient world. Unless you're good looking. There's no stomach to talk about. And not one video. You got to make an episode, right? For skinny white girls. Or all the people you underestimating. The people you could lose 100,000 police with that. 100,000 patch members could join the shadow. From the shadow, it's limitless. It's an empire that stretches across the world and the edges of the universe. Of course, technology exists. But if it's not good enough for you, doesn't mean that it's not good enough for someone else. Just because you're a broke person, you do the best you can. You do the most you can. If you live for the name, then the money and the fame is just the idea, isn't it? But that's another episode because you got your episodes of all that shit on the internet, pornography that you force people to watch, grotesque pornography, women, things that a man is not supposed to do. Well, that's what a normal boy does, makes episodes for himself. And whatever community you have is better than no community. At least you've got something to work with is more important than nothing to work with, or trying to do a feat of ingenuity, trying to do something, a physical entity with quantum physics or neuroscience is another episode. Life is an adventure. So if you're asleep and then that's a separate world. But if you're going to do something obvious or try to frame someone or threaten all the gangs, this part of the world, that's another episode, mate. We touched a lot of subjects. You touch as much as you want. If you don't want to be a police officer, then you're allowed to quit your job. If you don't want to be a gangster, then of course you got the secret weapon, which possibly all across the world somebody's trying to stop a business, but underestimating the shadow's power. The reach of the shadow, mate, can reach Buckingham Palace, can reach the White House, can reach the jungles of the Amazon, can reach anywhere around the world. But can you stand up for society? Can you be positive, mate? Can you speak for yourself? Obviously, you've got a whole lot of episodes, right? Episodes of Sopranos or The Wire or episodes, what I call that, an episode argument or something. You're allowed to do episodes, but it's what you do in the final phases of the battle that's going to be victory or failure. While you've got everybody's life at jeopardy. So if you're going to estimate, then you must make good estimations. But if you're going to plan, prepare, and be a soldier, then you've got to be military. You've got to be disciplined. An army of rabbits can defeat an army of goblins if they've got 90% psychological edge, or if they've got some sort of morale. Can change the deciding factor. If nanotechnology doesn't exist, but can stem in the mind. The mind is a computer that can connect with the Chinese prime minister, can connect with anybody with the mind. But can you be good looking and muscle and brains and eyes? Not many people can walk like a lion. But that's another episode, because you got episodes of pornography. To stop someone from watching pornography, you need another episode of a boy or something. If you want to stop all this negativity, you need a barrier. The only barrier between the monster and society is this barrier. Because you can be surprised who the monster is. The monster could be a vampire, could be the very werewolf, but the only difference is what you leave for yourself and what you do in this world is the only difference. Well, if you want to make a difference, then you've got to go out there and make a difference. But that's another episode of somebody that's got the capability of doing feats of ingenuity. Well, you've got all sorts of things, Hollywood, music, but no physical evidence for yourself when you're gone. Just think about the brains can outsmart the universe. If you've got no brains, that's a separate job. But it could be something like another world. But how many people are in another world? How many people have episodes? How many people have problems? You know what I mean? It works, mate. And a 90% psychological battle is only 10% in reality. But that's another episode. Well, you've got episodes on TikTok that are full of nonsense. You've got all sorts of things in the world. You've got all sorts of things that are given to you by God Himself. But nothing is given, is only taken. But what you leave yourself will decide the outcome. But that's another episode. Well, you want to know who I'm talking to? Well, I'm doing what you want. Talking to yourself will give you all the power that you want. You don't hurt someone. You're only teaching somebody a godly power that nobody should have. Talking to yourself will make you a man amongst men. Trying to be a scumbag is easy. Try to be a good man with a good reputation, not a scumbag. Then we'll see the champion 20,000 years from now, 50 million years from now. Who's the champion? Is the person who's going to decide the fate of the universe or the fate of the world. Could be coming from a garage. You see, in Thanos is in a shack. It could be a million reasons, mate. Being realistic is more powerful. Being available is the greatest weapon. But the greatest weapon right now is the internet. The internet is the greatest weapon in the universe, because on the internet is everything. Everything you dream about, mate. But try to come back in business is about physical power. It's about physical power. It's different from the brains. And the voice is something else. To have a voice for the people means you've got to be like a lion. And to be a lion, you've got to patrol your territory. If you've got no territory, then you lost yourself, because you stay in your territory. In your territory could be any other reason, but you've got to reach the mark of an episode. And until you find the physical power to wake up, is a different power. Power of Superman or power of the stomach is all different if it's a body. But that's an episode, mate. You've got your episodes. So you've got to touch the episodes. That's what I call those technicalities. Every day is a challenge. Now you're out of the ancient world. To survive in the modern world is our world. That's the ancient world. This is the modern world, which is just another episode. Because the future is just a spit away, right? 20,000 years is not that far. The ancient world is not far behind, but it's not different. Not as different as you think it is. But that's a episode, right? Episode or argument or something, a fight or something negative. What I call that's an episode. While I'm the leader on therapy, the leader on psychology, neuroscience, and quantum physics, things that you take for granted could be just under your nose. Could be an army of ant-men. Or right in your ear could be a worm. Right in your stomach could be maggots. But simplicity is the greatest advantage. If you want an advantage, patrol your territory. Know your enemy. Learn, study with what's available. What is unavailable is achievable. But what is unachievable is a godly power. Or trying to talk nonsense could be the most beautiful nonsense you ever heard in the world. But can you talk sense? Because how many people want nonsense? But how many people can make an episode for everyone, not yourself? Well, you've got your episodes. Well, this is the episode of our empire. So they need to see the leader of the empire, right? Well, you can't be a leader if you're a follower. But every follower must have an idea. Well, then you've got episodes. But yeah, this is just another episode to be available, to come back in business for the future of everyone's destiny. Is an episode for the past and the future you got to make for yourself if you want to be available, not unavailable, right? Because if you're going to sleep, is a separate world, isn't it? So it's an entity, right? It's possible. But that's another episode. Well, you got episodes of your nonsense. So you need an episode of our nonsense. Surely, isn't it? You want an episode of nonsense, you want an episode of the headhunters, then you get the episode of our bullshit.